Hello everyone and welcome back to our special program devoted to the Algerian snap presidential election. We're broadcasting live from Mal24 News to bring you the latest updates as they come in. So polling stations have officially closed, as you know, at 8 p.m. local time, and the vote counting process has begun and is still ongoing. This critical moment marks the culmination of a historic day where millions of Algerians took to the polls to decide the country's future. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned as we follow this historic moment closely with expert commentary and analysis. And before starting our debate, let us first begin with the latest updates. The polling stations, as I just told you, for the presidential election were closed at 8 p.m. on Saturday at the national level, marking the end of the voting operations. The vote counting process immediately began in the presence of representatives from the three candidates. And as of now, the voter turnout was reached 48.3% here in Algeria and was as of 19.57% for the Algerian community abroad. And now I'm pleased to welcome our panel of guests here with me in the studio. Mr. Abdelnour Toumi, political analyst and author. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. To you, Mr. Monsef Bouderba, economic analyst. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you very much. And we move to Skype. We have a guest via Skype, Ilyes Boukarmi, Director of Content at Regent's University in London. Thank you very much for joining us and welcome.
Thank you very much. Good morning to everyone. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. And without further ado, let's begin our discussion. So the preliminary voter turnout, you just heard it as it's 48.3% in Algeria, 90.57% abroad. The overall voter turnout, this is it for now. How do you interpret these outcomes, especially in light of the potential impact on Algeria's political landscape? Maybe let's start with you, Mr. Abdelnour Toumi.
Actually, it is a hopeful indicator for the future of the country, and it is in fact a good sign that the voters have shown the desire for the peaceful transition of power. And this is the main theme that was set by President Abdelmajid Tebboune in 2019, following the almost a year long of the peaceful Hirak that took place for 9 months. And all these elements are enhancing the maturity and also the learning process for the future of this country in terms of democracy and also political awareness as well, which will help not only the voters generally speaking, but gives the hopeful sign for the youth to believe in the future of the country.
To you, Mr. Monsef, what do you think are the key factors that influenced this voter turnout?
Well, first of all, let me congratulate let's say the overall operation. I think it's a successful operation, since we were expecting a better score maybe, but still I think we are going to go further than 50%, which is a good score. According to that Algeria, what happened, like said the doctors, we lived a very critical situation, economical situation after the the COVID period and all the changes that happen in our country, I think we are entering now, hopefully, in a very stabilization period, which is very important for the investments, the return of our economy back to the tube, if you allow me. So I think we are getting out from this process with a lot of hope, and we hope that things are going to take place in a proper way. So we, we all Algerians expect, it will be the year of the economical improvement and growth. So I think as an economical player, I think this is very important, because when you have a stabilized country, when you have a stabilized legal, let's say legal compliance of all the indicators, you can expect a return of growth and economic projects.
Prosperity.
So I think this will boost and give an opportunity for all the Algerian living in Algeria, the Algerian living abroad, and also our foreign partners that are expecting Algeria to come back in the international trade and market with a lot of strength. And we are very glad that this is going to be a process very successful for all Algerians.
God willing. Now turning to you, Mr. Monsef Bouderba, Mr. Ilyas. Sorry, Mr. Ilyas. So in light of the announced voter turnout as of now, which is more than 48% in Algeria, for the Algerians here in Algeria and 19% for the diaspora, how do you find the involvement of the different segments of the society in the electoral process?
First of all, thanks very much. And I think those figures are extremely realistic. They reflect the reality, and that's what we need to keep in mind. In London, like it was said earlier, we did something like 6%, which is absolutely a double figure what we did 5 years ago. On the term of organizations, what I have witnessed over the day is an election process that was extremely well organized by the various voting polls and stations. It was also conducted in a calm and quiet and serenity. And we've seen a lot of families, younger generations coming to vote and to celebrate. I think that is what we should keep in mind. It's clearly that today, 7th of September, it's an important day for the history of building up a state of institutions and a strong republic, being able to deal with the future challenges and the situation going around in the world. So I think 48% is a decent score. It's much better than 5 years ago, where we did 9%, as you all know. I think we progressed as a country, slowly, surely, but republic states do get built over time. I think for this election, what we need to keep in mind is the major three political forces and trends in the country: the nationalist trend, represented by the free candidate Abdelmajid Tebboune, the socialist trend of the FFS, a party created by Mr. Ait Ahmed, and was an opposition party in '63, and the Islamist party of Movement of Social Party, that was also represented by Mr. Hassani. So this is what we need to keep in mind, that the major three political forces within the nation of Algeria have been represented in those elections. So I think it's a great score. It's a score that reflects reality. In London, in the UK, we had 6 polling votes. The most important one is London. And we had one in Glasgow, one in Cardiff, one in Birmingham, and one in Manchester. What I can say and tell you that the capital had a much higher participation rate than other cities. And the civil society, with the youth association, like major associations, they played a major role into making a mobilization of the events without passing a political message.
Speaking of mobilization, Mr. Elias, what do you think is the message that can be drawn from the participation, the high participation of women and the youth in this election?
That's great. That is great. I'm glad that you mentioned about the feminization and the youth, and this is extremely positive because I think that people have realized that Algeria is suffering from its positions, courageous positions taken at the international scene, protecting human dignity, protecting social justice, protecting human development, and the strong position Algeria took for the Palestinian people recently and in the Security Council. So I think that today in London, by the way, we had at least nearly 700 or 800,000 people working for Palestine. So it was an important march for Palestine. So Algerian community, I don't want to call us a diaspora. We're not a diaspora. We are Algerian community based abroad. So the Algerian community based in the UK, they voted and they marched for Palestine. And there is a conscious that has been taken, and I think the future is we are in a much better. The message I have to say today, I witnessed the last maybe 20 years elections in the United Kingdom. I've been here for 25 years, and I can tell you those are the best organized elections with no reserves from anyone. And I have the results. I will keep them for myself. You will see them tomorrow. Nobody put any reserves. They were organized in a professional manner. They were organized in transparency, and they were organized in serenity and calm.
Thank you very much.
That's what,
Understood. To you, Mr. Abdelnour Toumi, what political significance can be attributed to the strong participation of the Algerian community abroad, in your opinion?
Actually, it's a strong message, actually, locally and abroad as well, and especially from the voters and notably, as you stated, the youth, who did send a solid message to the politicians and to the elite political media alike that we had, we as analysts and observers who have been not paying too much attention, to some extent marginalizing this segment, that for saying they are not actually aware enough, or to some extent, again, let me to use, trivially speaking, like as if they don't care. I will argue to the contrary. They do care indeed, and they did vote, and they showed up actually en masse in the police stations, sending the message, and also looking for three elements here: security, stability, and eventually prosperity. And these, generally speaking, the voters are looking for these three elements, and this is the message that they sent today to the responsible politicians, and also the media and all the actors, civil societies alike.
Thank you. In what ways, Mr. Monsif, does this election differ from the previous one, the one that we have experienced in the past, especially considering the significant economic turbulence the world is witnessing today?
Well, let me tell you that we have to keep in mind that the election of today is strengthening the country. The reasons for that is that the stability after the election days. Algeria today is entering in a new way of governing. I think a lot of people were not expected that Algeria was going through this process with calm, with serenity, like our guest from London said. But I think the Algerian today people is mature, and they are expecting, like our doctor said right now, they're expecting prosperity. They're expecting to live in a better Algeria. They're expecting to make Algeria functioning in a local way, in the relationship in the administration and the business community or the citizen has to improve. And I think that things are understood by the three candidates that we observed today. Mm-hmm. I think you have to keep in mind that even though they have a different program, economical program, like we noticed, but they have something that get close to each other.
A common point.
Yes, concerning the foreign policy. Algeria has a lot of foreign policy, let's say, repairs, which leave us with a lot of confidence for the future. The Algerian, the three candidates have the same way of building the future relationship between Algeria and its partner concerning, all the big diplomatic issues. They have also said that all of them will make economy as a priority, and that is very important because today the world, let me tell you, it's a world built on economical war. It's a position. You have to defend your position first and to gain more position. And to do that, you have to improve your business climate. I think Algeria understood that. Mm-hmm. You have to improve your, let's say, growth in terms of creating wealth and works, job positions, because Algeria, like you might know, we are in a very geostrategical position. Geographically. We are the bridge between Europe and Africa, and that is very important for the international trade. And we have seen after the Ukrainian war, the need for the redistribution of the cards in the international trade and commerce. So I think Algeria has a great opportunity to take place in this new economical redistribution of the responsibilities. And I think Algeria has a potential because we have, we are a very wealthy energical country. We have alternative energy. We have solar energy. We have all this opportunity that put Algeria in the, let's say, in the strategy to become an emerging country. So this is very important. Mm-hmm. So in order to achieve all these great achievements, we have to stabilize the political functioning of the country, which is taking place. So that's why we are very glad that Algeria today is in the good road, is in the road for growth and
stability,
and also to gain positions in the international trade. And that is very important.
Understood. Mr. Abnour Toumi, what is the significance of this presidential election, especially given the complex international context which is taking place nowadays?
It is indeed. I mean, Algeria now it's in crucial position. I mean, now in all the turmoil that is taking place on its borders, and as we all have noticed that Algeria is facing serious national security issues, I mean, notably in the Sahel, and also the political instability in Libya and the political impasse that we will wish that will break through next month. I mean, Tunisia, and also some provocations that are coming from the west side of Algeria. Nonetheless, Algeria has a solid foreign policy determinant that was established, actually a doctrine in light of, again, President Abdelmadjid Tebboune from 2020 to 2024, in which led under the imperatives of action and pre-action and reaction as well. So all these elements have pushed to have an aggressive foreign policy, not only on the sub-regional, but only on regional, as well on international level. And we also notice how Algeria now has positioned itself and have a say on international level, and notably in the Security Council, at the UN Security Council, and that solid position that has taken, and this is not new, I mean, it's in its actually blood, speaking about the Palestinian cause and how Algeria now is well respected, and also what Algeria's diplomacy needs beyond the economic diplomacy, public diplomacy, need also a humanitarian foreign policy in which we'll push further its pawns, not only in the region, but also will go beyond the Sahel, for instance, and also like the President Abdel Tebboune, he mentioned by sending in his speech about sending medical teams in Gaza, for instance, building hospitals, and all this actually have a huge impact on foreign policy determinants and also imperatives, and will make Algeria in a new posture dealing with the superpowers, whether Beijing, Washington, or Moscow as well. In this, on this stance, Algeria has to play on both fronts, on the bilateral level, and also Algeria looks for to build again solid strategic alliance with the neighbor countries, and in order to establish a serious integral process that will lead to an economic development in which enhanced the Algerian role and position in the world.
In the world, thank you. Back to you, Mr. Elias, and still within the same line of thoughts. Algeria, as you know, plays a pivotal role given its geo-strategic position, and the stability of such a large country as Algeria, which is the largest country in Africa, is beneficial to all the countries in the region. What's your comment on that?
I think it's evident, and I will agree definitely with what my fellow colleagues, Monsef and Abdenour said. You know, I think the priority of Algeria, as you said, is the largest country in Africa, the largest in the Arab world, the 10th largest in the world. It's the largest in the Mediterranean region. That is extremely important region in the world. The Mediterranean Sea is the basin of civilization and is the basin of religions. So you are in the center of the world, and I think the priority of Algeria is Africa. We are now hopefully the third largest economy in Africa. We did great in the last 5 years, and the future of Algeria is within South Africa and Nigeria as a pivotal country for promoting the interest of the African continent. And Algeria is by definition a leader country for the African continent. I think you rightly said so. Now, yes, the situation, it's not easy. Let's make it clear. My fellow colleagues, they both said it. We have a hub of tensions. Luckily, there is a strong internal front that will help in facing the external challenges and tensions. So we are in the next 5 years will not be easy for our political leaders and for our governance. And it's, you know, that we need to be ready as a society, as a people, to deal and defend the interests of these nations and to defend our positions and values. So we got to stand strong for the values and the equity. I think the future of Algeria, as you said, is defending the equity of Africa by redefining what is, you know, the governance of the world and what is the role of Africa within this world, and the clear role of Algeria, if I may say so. So yeah, it's quite complex. Mm-hmm. It's not easy. But we, as you all said, and I'm deeply convinced, the good thing is there is a strong internal front. The youth is engaged, the feminization process is taking place, a better diversity, a better inclusion, hopefully with a better technological advancement, a better economic efficiency, a better employment system. All those things will help to actually get people together around a specific project of society. That, but it will take years.
Mr. You have a comment on this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, let me tell you that the international relations are based on mutual interests. First of all, we have not to be naive.
For sure.
Algeria has the potential. There are some countries that we can build a successful win-win partnership. I think the African projects with Nigeria and South Africa, the pipeline, the gas pipeline, yes, is very important. I think good neighboring relationship with our neighbors, foreign policy, we have to listen to our neighbors, and our neighbors, they have to listen to create cooperation is important because we cannot move alone. We have to be very careful. I don't think Algeria can handle such changes, world changes alone. It's impossible today because everybody is interconnected. So Algeria has to move in blocks. So like the BRICS, it's a good thing. The African Union is a good thing. The Arab League, it's still a good thing. That's a question mark because the Arab world has suffered from a lot of changes, in particular after what says our Dr. Abdenour with the Gaza situation. I don't know the day after what will happen.
What's coming next?
We hope things are going to get better for the Arab friends and people of Algeria, but the situation is a little bit more complicated than Africa. In Africa, I am more hopeful for the future of Algerian cooperation with our friends, because Algeria, let me remind all our friends in Africa that has played a very important role in the scholarship of our African students here. Most of the governors now, the ministers, the political leaders in a lot of countries from Africa, they were here in Algeria. So Algeria has invested in human resources in Africa. It's time for Algeria to get some investment return and backed in our interest, which is, of course, normal in international relations. We have to get back our investments. So things can be used also for the agro business. Algeria has a good know-how in the private and public sector in the agro business. Our products are international standard. We can have a good export strategy to Africa with our agro business, because as you may know, we can transform the African agricultural products in Africa. So we have to prepare our law that will take our banks and our private companies. They have to have all the authorization to go to Africa, to open business there, and to take advantage of the know-how of Algerian know-how in this sector, and to take advantage of the relationship, the historical relationship with our African brothers, to build a new partnership, economical partnership, win-win with the Africans. And
we have to wrap up. I'm sorry to cut you off. It was a pleasant discussion. I hope we would be able to have more time, but we have to wrap up. Thank you very much for your insights. Thanks to all our panel of guests, and thanks to our viewers for trusting our shows and for following us. Thank you very much, and have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.